My phone better not screw up again. So
Yeah.
it did not. It did
It
not
wasn't
want to.
dead, was it?
No. I think what happened was I didn't have enough space.
Oh yeah, you were looking at that.
So I went through. I cleared off a lot of stuff. I don't know if anybody else has this, but I have messages, instant message conversations on my phone from 2014.
And how are those messages?
They're fine. They're fine. There was a nice little like time capsule into things that I've talked about before, but it was like, why do I don't need these. I haven't looked at them in, what is that, 8 years?
Okay, get rid of them.
I got rid of them.
Clean out the cookies.
Yeah, I went through all my pictures. I have multiple pictures of like my feet and like road signs and like, and at the time I'm probably like, this is pretty. This might be a really nice picture. And then I forgot about it. And 8 years later, I'm like,
no, I take pictures by accident. So it'll be like the side of my foot. And I'll find them in my camera, a whole bunch of them where it went off and I didn't even know it was taking pictures.
I do that with my home screen. Like the way I pick up my phone, I'll press the two buttons on the sides.
I don't know what I was doing.
I have a lot of pictures of my home screen.
And then I try to figure them out. That's the funniest part.
Yeah.
Because I stare at them and I really try to figure out what they are, which even if I did, it's nothing.
Yeah.
So who cares?
But
I like try to figure it out.
It's like I think the rule applies for pictures and conversations on your phone as it does with clothes in your closet. Have you heard of the hanger thing?
6 months.
A year.
A year?
Yeah.
More than a year?
Yeah. So for people who are listening, if you don't know, the hanger rule is if you want to figure out what clothes you can safely get rid of, or there's clothes that you want to keep, put all your hangers in your closet one direction, and then every time you wear something and wash it and put it back, put the hanger the opposite direction.
Oh no, I don't know that one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so and then do that for the whole year, and then when a year rolls around, you can look at your closet and all the hangers that are still the front facing way, you will never wear that. It's been a whole year, you've gone through all the seasons, all the holidays, and you've never worn that thing. You could probably safely get rid of it.
I love that. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I just go in and look at it and I'm like, do I like you? Have I worn you?
I mean, you can do that too. But yeah, it's the same thing for stuff on your phone. If you haven't used it, looked at it, or responded to it in a year, get rid of it.
Yeah. Do you have cologne on? Because I feel like you smell good.
I do have cologne on.
Ralph smells really good.
I put a little spritz on.
I was like, you smell good.
It's a new. We just got it earlier this summer. Dan and I went cologne shopping. Because we had our colognes that we wore that we liked, but of course they were both discontinued, so we were like, all right.
Oh, that sucks.
It was heartbreaking. So we needed to find new ones, and we went to Bloomingdale's. High end.
Spritz you with everything under the sun. I hate that.
No, we found the men. We went early, and the men's counter was empty, and so we went over there. We had a whole hour. We just all right, we're gonna get this done. It was actually nice. They had all the little cards you could spray stuff on. They had the cup of coffee to cleanse your nose between
Well, that's what helps. Okay.
Yeah, because if you keep smelling stuff too much, you go nose blind, and then everything just kind of smells the same. So you have to give your nose a break.
I noticed that. I didn't know the coffee.
Smell coffee. Yeah.
2 things I've learned today. Okay.
Right. It hasn't even been 5 minutes yet, and we're already.
A couple minutes in, and I'm already
teaching a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And so we eventually found our stuff. I forget what he got, but I got. It's called infrared. It's Nicholas Wolf or something. Oh. It comes. The bottle looks like a very geometric hand grenade.
Okay.
And then it has a little plastic tab at the top that you have to pull off before you can use it. And then you put the tab.
Yeah, I'm wondering too, because I'm gonna buy a friend of mine cologne, and I'm in the market for cologne right now.
Look it up, Victor Rolf or something. Victor Rolf, I think it's called. It's called infrared. It smells really nice.
Yeah. It's nice and light. I wasn't like, oh, I was like, oh, I smell a nice little scent.
Number 3 thing that people might not have known, Dan and I just learned this, shopping for cologne, there's eau de toilette and there's eau de parfum, and then there's like regular stuff. Eau de toilette is actually lighter and lasts less time than anything else does.
Like a body splash for
Right.
women.
You put it on and it's light and it doesn't last as long. Eau de parfum or like anything else is not heavier, but it lasts longer.
Got it.
So, and it's stronger. So that, I did not know that.
Okay.
Man, this is like everybody. I wish we had a
I don't
hotline
even need
people
a topic,
could
I've
call
learned
in.
so many things in 5 minutes
Right?
here. More than I learned all day.
We should just have a hotline. People call in. We'll give you information that we've gleaned.
Useless, not useless actually. Especially
Well, it depends.
in the market for corn.
It depends. You just redid your place a little bit. New rug.
Yes. I'm being really weird about the rug. Like a little
like it.
overly excited, but that's because I couldn't have a rug for several years because of my dog and her problem with her bowels. And so rugs were not an option for me. And she passed almost a year now, believe it or not. And I've been talking about getting a rug forever. And the other day, before 9 o'clock, I bought this rug. It was here the next day. I was like, enough. I need a rug. I'm tired. And it just makes it feels good to me.
I love it.
It just feels good. And it's a nice big rug. And now the other benefit is that because I have hardwood floors, I don't have to worry about the floors so much. Like I was constantly, the floors are filthy. I talk about it more than I'd actually mop them. But now it's like this rug is covering a huge portion of the floor. So even if I mop it, it's like a 2-second deal.
Yeah. No, I love it. It looks great.
It's little things for me. It really is.
You got your little battery operated candles. They're really
cute too. I got the plant up there.
I love it.
Did a couple little things.
You were talking about how you turn them on, the candles on at night, and it makes you feel good. I just found brown noise.
What's brown noise? Another
It's like
thing. I'm
what,
about
right?
to learn something else. You guys ready?
You know what it is? It's the Coke. I'm Coca-Cola. Sorry, not cocaine. I feel like I needed to specify. No, I'm drinking a nice cold Coca-Cola right now, and I think the caffeine is helping me connect some dots. No, brown noise is like white noise, but it's like lower. It's like a different frequency, and it's on my app that I have that has like different sounds to put you to sleep. It has brown noise, and I've been using it like for the past week, out like a light.
When we're done, can you put brown noise on?
Yeah.
Because I really want to hear
Yeah.
what that sounds like. I don't know what that
Look
is.
it up.
I have
Also-
a noise machine thing. I think it's right over there from when I was in my office with white noise.
Yeah.
And then it has water, which I can't do that one because
Yes.
I run to the bathroom immediately as soon as the water starts
Right.
trickling. Yeah, so I've never heard brown noise. That's new.
I will look it up for you afterwards, and I will put it in the show notes. So if anybody's interested, you can listen to brown noise.
White noise really works. People think it's like, they think, oh, that's just silly. It makes people think it blocks the sound. No, it really does.
It really does. It really does work. There's frequencies, things that I don't think we should get into here, but if you're interested, there's a lot of YouTube videos about like different frequencies and how they affect human beings and like healing and mental stress and like all this, all this kind of stuff. So
all right.
look it up.
I have lots of things to do tonight.
Absolutely. So this week we have a direct request from a listener who enjoys the show immensely.
Yay! We love them already.
We love them. And they wanted us to dig into the topic of self-actualization and why it is so hard to get to a point of why is it so hard to say?
It's a lot.
Self-actualization. Why it's so hard to get there, and why is it discouraged in some way, shape, or form by others?
Yeah, I think I get where you're going with that.
that's our topic for today, and I think there's a lot here to dissect.
This is definitely a good. I love this. This is something we probably wouldn't have come up with.
No, because we're both very self-actualized.
Yeah, we are so perfect. Why would we need to talk about this?
Why would we need to talk about
this? This show is about how perfect Ralph and I are.
Right. See, we set the standard for everybody else.
Yeah.
We had to actually look it up just to make sure we were talking about the right thing today. But self-actualization is basically just, in its simplest definition, reaching your full potential. And those of us who are familiar with and enjoy the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the pyramid, self-actualization is at the top of the pyramid. So that's like the mecca, the brass ring of, getting your S together. After, psychological needs and physiological needs and like security and friendship and all that stuff, you get to the top and it's like that you can self-actualize. So that's what self-actualization is: reaching your full potential, becoming your best self, tapping into all of your innate qualities and talents to become the fullest version of yourself, which is something we all, not all of us. I'm always trying to be mindful of this. I want to be aware of when something is just not attainable for some people, not because they don't want it, it's because of the way the world and society is set up. Like, I think self-actualization is something that I'm trying to parse my words carefully. I think self-actualization is something that is not available to everybody because they're never, the way the system's set up, if you're in a specific place, you just won't be able to get past those first two lower levels of the pyramid.
Yeah.
I don't know if I put that the right way.
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
It's sort of an abstract concept. Is that an okay way of putting it? And pretty or not pretty, not everybody gets to, we're really technical right now, but not everybody gets to that point in development where they're able to understand and use abstract thinking. And I will say one little thing is the therapy thing about it. It has to do with where you are developmentally, and for many people, especially people that live in oppressed communities, poor, violent, where there is a lot of trauma, and people living in environments where they are constantly re-traumatized and don't get out of that environment, they don't get past concrete thinking and kind of the stage of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, necessarily, all of them, physiological needs, because they are in a survival mode.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah. Thank you.
It's not anything to do with the ability or being smart or you're better than I am. It is a lot to do with the environment, the society, the framework, etc. that one is living in.
Yes, thank you. I knew you would say it better than I could.
I just went back to my old days of school.
Yeah.
I just tried to.
Yeah, no, you put it, that's exactly what I was trying to say, survival. And especially, I can't speak for other marginalized communities, but I know, the LGBTQ community, there's a lot of barriers put up for people within the community who are living openly and living their truth to get past those first two levels of survival, because the world just says nuh-uh, not you, and that freaking sucks. So what we're talking about today is definitely it's a narrow concept that doesn't apply to everybody, and I think it's good that we put it into perspective this way at the top, because we realize this isn't going to apply to everybody. But I think in some way we all, if you're a human being, you strive for that top of the pyramid, that self-actualization. So I think there's going to be bits and pieces of this conversation that everybody can use in some way, but as a pure, I've conquered all the other levels of the pyramid and now I can work, I don't think that applies to it. It doesn't apply to me, that's for damn sure.
Well, there's no arrogance to self-actualization. There's no boasting. It's sort of like when people ask me the difference between arrogant and confident, and I always say confidence is often silent and sound. and secure. I think self-actualization is the same way. I think of like Gandhi and people like that tried to reach, and I believe he might have reached what he considered self-actualization, but it's, I don't know.
I love that. I think that there could be an argument made for a lot of thought leaders that have maybe in some way attained that self-actualization, because I think they become thought leaders because they have reached some level of that, fulfillment of their, what was it? The potential.
And I think, the thing I was just thinking of, and I'm not sure if we want to go in this direction or not, is who defines it for you?
Yeah, go in that
direction.
Like,
how do you know?
Yeah.
Like, am I there? I have no idea. And I think it's something that a person recognizes and defines, is that the right word? Themselves. I don't think other people can tell you. Do you?
No, I think that's a great point.
It's a personal thing.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with other people.
Yeah. Well, hell, then, I mean, following that train of thought, wouldn't Maslow's pyramid kind of collapse a little bit in on itself? Because if we get to define what self-actualization is, maybe more people can attain it. If it's all kind of self-regulated and self-defined.
Well, I think it's possible for even a person in an environment that we described earlier to reach that. I just think it's way harder. It's way more obstacles. There's way more things getting in the way, making it more difficult. It's already difficult in and of itself for anybody.
Yeah.
When you have a lot more obstacles and things pushing you away from it, it's just that much harder. Right. Is there somebody in one of those environments that could? Sure, but they would be pretty outstanding given the adversity they'd be facing and the different more challenges they'd have to face than maybe somebody else to get to that.
Yeah, and I think, not to go off topic, I don't think I am, but not to go down a weird side street, I think it benefits the people that are in power to keep the masses in survival mode, because if everybody had the opportunity to grow within themselves and fulfill their potential, the people in power would not be in power very much longer, because people would have more knowledge, skill, opportunity to challenge and change the way things are. So I think it's not an accident that the majority of us are in survival mode every day and not getting past those first one or two levels of the hierarchy, because that's the way the system is working. It's not a bug, it's a feature.
I think that power is...
Sorry.
It's okay. I think that power is... I think that people often equate power almost with a loose sense of self-actualization. People think it's the same thing, which it isn't. If I am a leader and I have all this power and control and usually all this money, then I have hit the jackpot in life, and
you're making,
say this.
Keep going.
But it has absolutely nothing to do with that. That's why I'm saying somebody coming from the poorest neighborhood and the most violent neighborhood in the world could reach self-actualization absolutely, and have no power over all those things and no money and no, you know what I mean? I think that's why a lot of us don't reach that point of self-actualization too, is because these other things are distractions as what we are reaching for. When I talk to clients about them not feeling good enough and wanting this and wanting that, many of them can admit, even if I get that, am I really going to feel fulfilled? Am I really going to feel happy if we really peel it away? because people get so set on when I get this and when I get that, and when you're that focused on getting something or getting to somewhere in order for you to be excelling in life and moving forward, then you're kind of you're on the wrong path, you're on the wrong road, as far as if we're talking about self-actualization.
And you spoke about Gandhi before, and I think that was a good person to cite, because that's kind of what I think of when I think of self-actualization, because it wasn't about objects or things or I own all this stuff. It was about self-actualization is within yourself. It's not without. It's not objects and things and people. It's about what is my full potential and how can I reach that. And yeah, I think you would be hard pressed to find a handful of people that are in power today in any country, but especially in the United States, who are self-actualized. Oh man, I'm gonna get it right one time. Self-actualized.
Should we do an acronym essay? Like, can we just do?
I can do this.
Or not an acronym, whatever, an abbreviation.
I can get it. I think you would be hard pressed to find anybody within the government, the U.S. government, who has attained that kind of fulfillment. And you're right. Power does not equal actualization and fulfillment, because and even burrowing down even more to everybody's daily life, I'm sure people listening now could say that people that are in power in their own companies or their own businesses are not self-actualized.
Have reached their potential.
Right. So, just giving people power and saying, okay, you're a manager now, you're a boss now, does not mean they immediately, jump up to the top of the pyramid.
Right. I think it's also about evaluating what we mean by reaching your potential.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. Yeah. What does it mean to reach your full potential? And I think that means a lot of self-discovery and self-awareness and self-knowledge of what am I good at? What is my purpose? What do people come to me for? What am I naturally gravitating towards? And I used to talk about that stuff with clients all the time. Okay, well, what are you good at? What do you do without even thinking about it? What do people naturally come to you for help? And I think that's a good way to kind of get a hint at what, where you're headed. And then it's setting goals so you can kind of steer your ship in that direction.
Right.
How would you describe it?
Yeah, I think it's so complicated. It's so deep. To be honest, this is like, my brain's gonna be very tired after this. I think it's about potential in all areas of your life. It's not, I think we say, have you reached your potential? And people immediately think education, job, money. Mm-hmm. That's what people think of. And I think when you look at the concept of self-actualization, it's talking about so much more than that. That's probably small peanuts in the whole thing. It's more about your relationship with yourself, satisfaction and content with your life. What else?
And being able to, I know we're both big proponents of self-advocacy as well. Mm-hmm. Advocating for yourself, speaking up and saying, I do not like that. I want to live my life like this. I want to hang out with these kind of people. I want to help the world in this way.
Right. Yeah, and the first thing when Ralph brought it up was I was like, does anyone achieve this? That was literally the first thing that came out of my mouth. And I don't think a lot of people do. Again, maybe my perception is skewed because I work with so many people that are so hard on themselves, perfectionists, low self-esteem, things of that nature, and I know how tough that is to overcome. But when I think about if outside of Gandhi and big people, I think of older people that have lived a full life. Let's say they're in their 80s. And I think about sometimes how they're at peace with their life, with their relationships, with who they are, with what they've done. And it's not like they're saying, all right, God or whoever you believe in, I'm ready to go. Like, I did it all. But they're very comfortable with I don't mean to be morbid and talk about death, but they're very comfortable with leaving this earth. Because I think they've come to a place of acceptance, number one, that they're at a stage of life where they're going to pass, and that they are feeling content and satisfied with the life that they live. Now, is that exactly self-actualization? I'm not sure, but that when I was trying to wrap my head around who in the layman world, if that's what it is, would maybe be the closest to something like what we're talking about, perhaps it could be some of those people.
Yeah, and living that long, I think you gain enough knowledge of self and experience of the world that you kind of just don't care anymore. And I don't mean that in a flippant way. I mean, like, you don't care about things that don't actually matter. And I think
so. Maybe I'm just talking about aging, and I'm not talking about self-actualization.
Yeah, I think they're connected. But I also think because I've known older people who are just buttholes.
Yeah.
And they're not actualized.
I'm not talking about old people by any means.
Some of them I was related to. But also there are younger people who I would say are, self-actualized or heading that way rapidly because they see the world differently. And so yes, I think just life experience can help you not care. Well, let me do it in a positive way. It can help you focus on what really matters and kind of let the other stuff fall away. So yeah, I guess that's some of it. Also, the experiences we have a lot of times can, you hear some people say, oh, they had to grow up really fast, or like, they had a rough life, they had to grow up fast. And I think that's a nice way of saying, you go through something where it shifts your priorities and your focus.
Yeah. Sorry, this hair is like really bugging me in my eye. All right,
That's okay.
I'm good now.
You all right?
Yeah.
You want to take 5?
No, it was like
back to 1, everybody.
Stuck on my eyelash, and then that's all I could see and think about.
Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily have to do with age, but I think within that age argument is the idea that the more experiences we have, I think we move up the ladder a little bit.
There's got to be an age cutoff. You can't say you're self-actualized at 20. I'm sorry. That's a rarity. I'm not saying it never. Somebody out there in the world, maybe, but like, yeah, you gotta. There's no age. We're not going to sit here and try to put an age on it because that might get us a lot of emails. That wouldn't be pleasant. But I just think you gotta have lived a chunk of life to be able to get this, because you don't even know who you are when you're young. You're not even fully developed.
Yeah,
guys
don't really stop developing till we're what, 37,
That's
38?
Obvious.
Yeah,
So
no, I think it's 20.
Yes, thank you for
20.
saying
What is
that,
it? 25, 27, somewhere around there. I think
it's more.
Our
than
brains
that,
stop developing, but yeah.
We'll leave that for a different day.
Yeah, we'll have to have a big panel on for that. We're building up to a big show about sex and sexuality and gender and all that stuff. We're going to have a big panel. I'm going to set it up. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. But I think that speaks back to what you were talking about of hubris, of like confidence versus arrogance. And I think there are 20-year-olds that are just arrogant and think they know everything. And then there's 20-year-olds who kind of have that quiet kind of confidence that you're like, maybe that's what we mean by old soul.
I'm just
you're just gonna say that? Right? It's people who have like, they have an old soul. Maybe they're just closer to being self-actualized.
I think that's true. It's so funny. I'm thinking about my nephew right now. But yeah, I do. I think there's some that are just wise beyond their years. Now we really sound like old people. But
I embrace my old-headedness.
Wise beyond their years. Yeah, that have this maturity, this confidence that seems not strange, but is unusual for someone their age.
Because I think it's like you said, we kind of give people leeway because they're not fully developed yet. And
I still can't. I'm still not sure. I think they could be self-actualized that young, but we'll leave it on people. I don't have any
think
data to go on what I'm saying. So
it's true, and I don't think. See, that's the thing. It's hard to know at what point is it allowable to be self-actualized.
Right.
You
I
know?
know that sounds wrong.
Can a baby be I've met some smart babies. I've met some very smart babies.
I think the brain has to be developed. Isn't that age 7? I forgot. Yeah, you gotta have a full brain before you can self-actualize. I would think.
All right, fine.
Unless, yeah.
All right, I will.
I don't know.
Acquiesce.
Look, someone that knows about this, please. We're just talking out of our behinds right now, and we could be.
We are
so
speaking from our respective pools of knowledge and education and
Ralph, you
experience.
said that's so much better than speaking from our behinds.
We are also talking out of our butts a lot of the time.
Sure.
Yes. Why is it? And then the next part of that question that the listener had was, why is it so hard? Why is the road so hard to get to self-actualization? Why is it such a rocky path?
We get in our own way. It's my
tread.
immediate answer
Ooh,
to that.
say more.
Yeah, I really, that was immediately it came into my head because it has nothing to do with everybody. I think that we talked already about the different environments and cultures and things in our society that make it more difficult for people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that on the whole, we get in our own way because it's us that determines it. Are there people that have situations that make some things easier for them in life? Abso-freaking-lutely. And some people that have much harder? Absolutely. But I also think that this all comes from within. And if we aren't willing to do the work on ourselves, if we aren't willing to be curious about our desires, needs, goals, who we are, our self-awareness, then that's on us, right? Then we're just not probably going to get there. I think, again, yes, some of the messages in society get into our heads and get in the way. I think a lot of everything has to do with our relationship with ourselves, because I say it every week. Our self-esteem and the way we feel about ourselves has so much to do with so many other things. And a lot of us, and society perpetuates this, do not prioritize ourselves. In physically, emotionally, everything, mentally, we don't. And because of that, there's so much attention to all these other things. And sometimes there are things like kids, which you have to pay attention to, or parents that you have to take care of, or whatever. I'm not saying there aren't things that people have to deal with. Mm-hmm. But there's also just so much attention to stuff that just takes us away from ourselves that we don't have to, but we do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I just babbled. But
no?
Yeah, I think that it's that recentering, which is very difficult. Like recentering, coming back to self, trying to get to that. I can't do this. I'm not going to sit here and say I can, but trying to recenter and bring it back into us. And it's also a lot about putting yourself first in a way, which a lot of people struggle with. So there's a lot of crap that gets in the way. It makes it really, really hard life.
Yeah, and I think this part of the conversation touches on a lot of our old episodes that we've done. Mm-hmm. Selfless versus selfish. Mm-hmm. And that springs to mind immediately. Like what does putting ourselves first mean? Are we doing it too much? Are we being selfish? Are we not making ourselves a priority enough? Are we being too selfless, which doesn't do anybody any good? The importance of play, making time for yourself to do things that you enjoy, that fulfill you in some way, that decrease your stress. It doesn't have to fulfill a purpose. It's just there to make you feel better. I could literally name all of our previous episodes, and I'm sure they touch on this in some way. And it's, again, the system is set up sometimes for us to be stuck in that survival mode of those first 2 levels of the hierarchy where you just can't get out of it. And then we think, I have to hang out with this kind of people and this group of friends and do these kind of activities and do this, and it's like, again, thinking to yourself, is this actually moving me forward in any way? Is this what I really need to be doing? Am I doing it because I feel like I have to, or am I doing it because I really want to and I feel like it's moving me forward on my path?
There's still so much negativity, criticism, I don't know what the word is, against doing all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it just goes back to selfish versus selfless. And it's like, if you are somebody that's consistently refocusing on yourself and what you need and creating, then you're deemed as selfish. You're deemed as something's wrong with you. It's bad. It's still a thing.
And another episode that we did that ties into this is product over people. If there is if there is no product to what you're doing, if you're not producing something of value for other people that you can commodify, then it's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, like play.
Right.
Because play has no accepted value. Once you're past being a child, play doesn't have a ton of accepted value amongst adults.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something you can say you didn't make money from play. Usually, some people do, but you didn't make money from it. You didn't get recognized for it. You know what I mean? You just enjoyed yours. Like, the pure fact of enjoying yourself, doing something and feeling good about yourself doesn't have enough value in our society. And that's what we talked about.
Retirement. I've had this conversation in some way, shape, or form with a few people over the past couple weeks of people that are retiring and they can finally do all these things they want to do and sail and do pottery or learn something new at the annex or and I'm like, why do we always have to wait till we're older and retired because those are steps towards self-actualization of what do I enjoy doing, what's going to fulfill me, what kind of people do I want to hang out with, do I want to go back and get another degree and learn more stuff, and
I love that point, actually.
Why do we always have to wait till we're retired? And it's because the system is set up to keep people in survival. I'm so glad you said that in the beginning of this episode, because that's what it is. We exist within a framework that keeps us in survival mode, so a lot of us can't focus on those other things.
Yeah, I remember when I was in my, mid-30s. I remember when I got my Volkswagen Beetle convertible. Her name was Pearl, God rest her soul. I loved Pearl. Loved Pearl. And I was like, I'm getting a convertible because I'm young, I'm still cute. I'm not waiting till I get my, till I'm in 50s or 60s and I get the Mustang convertible in Florida. Right. I'm not doing it. I'm getting it right now while I'm young. Mm-hmm. I remember having that entire mindset about it. Of I'm going to have this fun little car while I'm young and fun. Yep. And it just made me think of that. It's you have to keep waiting and when I retire and the more responsibilities you have in your life, the more I don't want to say excuses, the more reasons you make for not doing those things. Maybe it's just not feasible sometimes too. That's the other thing. If you have kids and you have all these responsibilities, a house and all that, that's a lot to try to do all of that and then put yourself, there's a lot of things going on.
Youth is wasted on the young, as the saying goes,
Yeah.
But also, thinking about people who have started families and have chosen to have kids, buy the house, the picket fence, do that whole kind of, I don't want to say offshoot, but different reality than some of us have chosen. Maybe that is your self-actualization at this point in your life. I've chosen to start a family and raise kids and do all that, and I'm going to be the best version of that. Maybe that is your version of self-actualization right now at this point, so maybe there's different kinds of self-actualization as we travel down. Like you said before, we can kind of define it how we want to define it.
I was thinking about it. I think, that might be part of the journey towards the top of the pyramid among relationships and other pieces along that pyramid before to get to it too.
Mm-hmm.
A piece that might be a piece towards it. But I think, I don't know. It's one thing to make choices such as to have a family and buy a house and all of that, and that's what you want, and that's what you love, and that's what you live and you enjoy. I think it's another thing when people unfortunately go and make those decisions because they think, because of society,
Mm-hmm.
and then they feel they're missing out. They feel they're held back from doing some of the other things maybe they wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's different in every situation.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like I'm off in a weird place.
No. No, I think it's all part of it. Yeah, absolutely. Are we going to come to any kind of
Oh, hell no.
conclusion? Hell no.
Nope.
You know, we're not going to make any new discoveries about this, but I think it's an interesting topic of discussion of, you know, what does it actually mean to be fulfilled? And I think a lot of people, we're using the term self-actualization on this show, but I think just fulfilled is like a very simple way to put it. And that's what a lot of people want. Like, I just want to be fulfilled. I want to find a fulfilling job and a fulfilling career, you know, a relationship, and you know, I think that's what they're saying is I want those parts of my life to feel fulfilling.
Yeah, it's connected to feeling content and satisfied.
And content, right?
Yeah.
And there's this saying.
Oh boy, this isn't a old person saying.
No. One of my favorite improv teachers of all time, Susan Messing, had a saying, and I can't say it fully on this show because we are a kid-friendly show. But she said, "If you're not having fun, you're the a-hole." Like in scenes, and I took that to mean we have a lot more control over where our story's heading than we think. And if you're not especially in improv, if you're not having fun in the scene, you can change it.
Yeah.
You can do something. You have a choice. You can change it and do something different. And so I think if you're not having fun, you're the a-hole. I think that's something that everybody can use in some form in their life of saying yes, everybody's situation is different. Yeah. A lot of us do not have the same kind of resources available to us, or, you know, the same kind of time or energy to think about these things than others do. But I think no matter where you are and what kind of resources you have available, there is a little speck of time you can set aside to say, you know, what choices do I have?
Right.
What kind of things can I change?
Yeah.
Even if it's one tiny little minuscule thing, you do it enough, you do that thing enough, and it starts to build up, and it starts to become a habit, and it starts to change your perception about things. And you start, you know, so little baby steps, like I always say, little tiny baby steps, you know? But yeah, that's my contribution. If you're not having fun, you're the a-hole.
I like that. All
right. Feel free.
I think it's a good ending point. Do you think?
Okay.
On that quote? Or do we have another piece you want to?
No, I think that's a good. Thank you, Susan Messing, wherever you are.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Shout out to Susan.
Shout out to Susan, who's an absolute national treasure, and she's amazing. Look her up if you get a chance, because she's great. Yeah, I think.
My brain's tired.
Yeah, that was a lot.
This is good, deep thinking.
This is a really good conversation.
Thank you, listener. Hopefully
Thank you, listener.
Did something here.
I will check in with them after this goes live.
Yeah. What else do they have?
What else do they have squirreled away
in
their thought packet? Yeah, that's it. Continue. That's the whole point of the show. Helping people have better conversations and inspiring more people to ask more questions and have more interesting conversations. That's what we do here. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for being here, Ralph.
Yeah, thanks you for being here. Thank you for helping me self-actualize.
Yes, we were a couple minuscule steps ahead than we were 44 minutes ago.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. All of our contact info is in the show notes, and I will link the stuff about brown noise in there too.
Yes.
And anything else interesting I think that we talked about, I'll try to link in there.
Have a good week, everybody.
Have a good week, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.